I'm a guy that's 25. Lego Star Wars is my life. I like Ryan Johnson. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here, back again with another video, and today we have a kind of special edition of the MOC Showcase. This week, we're not just going to be looking at MOCs that I found on the internet, but instead, we're going to be reviewing one MOC that I found on the internet and two MOCs that actually won my Discord Battlefront 2 MOC contest. If you're not a member of my Discord, I'll leave that link in the description below so you can partake in some of the build contests that we're holding and just some of the monthly shenanigans that we have going on over there. First up, let's take a look at the overall winner of my MOC contest. This is by some dude named Kedem. This is a Mustafar MOC from Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original Star Wars Battlefront 2. First off, I have to mention the lava. I love this snot lava technique, the usage of the reds, dark reds, orange, and yellow, and even a little bit of brown and black in there all work really well to make some nice looking lava. Looks actually quite awesome right there. If we start to the left side of the MOC, I really do like the use of these 6x6 dishes here, and then there's of course the battle droid getting shot by the stormtrooper with the trans purple blade. That's actually kind of a flex. That's not a super common piece, honestly. As we make our way closer to the main building, we can see we have a stormtrooper firing a rocket towards the overall building, and I have to say the design he came up with for the ground here looks great. That is a nice usage of some cheese slopes and some snot techniques to get a pretty nice pattern in there. Over to the top side of the MOC, we see a pretty well-known Star Wars scene. Some might call it a scene. At this point, I call it a meme. We have Obi-Wan with the high ground. Let me give you guys some time to finish laughing. And he is watching Anakin burn alive in the lava. That is pretty intense. The build he actually did here for the ground looks pretty good with the wedge plates, and yeah, just overall nice looking build. I have to of course point out we have blue brick here. Of course there has to be a blue brick siding. Is it really a MOC if there isn't some sort of blue brick integrated into it? He has his blue brick. That's probably the main reason he won the MOC contest. So now to the far right we have the actual main building of the MOC. He's included some pretty memorable, recognizable Mustafar looking architecture, and I especially love the brown trim he's went with here around the door as well as on top of the little balcony section. Those both look really nice. We have some nice action scenes once again to the top right. Just the stormtroopers are just wrecking the battle droids in this MOC, and then there's even a nice little mini kit sighting. I love the mini kit sightings. I literally live for the mini kit sightings in these MOCs. Up to the top of the MOC we have another little Easter egg, just some stormtroopers hanging out, man. Some stormtroopers hanging out on Mustafar, eating some chicken and soda. Next photo, we have a look at the interior of the MOC. So down below, we have a scout trooper taking on a battle droid with a nice looking cargo crate at the bottom. I love the usage of the spring-loaded missile launcher in here. The way that that dark gray line kind of lines up with the bottom half of the cargo crate looks really nice. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's a Dalek from Doctor Who. Is that what that's from? Honestly, I have no idea. This is probably one of my favorite Easter eggs ever. We have here George Lucas with his young baby Dave Filoni, of course, sporting the cowboy hat. He is grooming him to someday take down Disney from within and become the overall ruler of Star Wars. The last thing I wanted to point out about this MOC is the little piece of machinery sitting there behind George Lucas. It's almost like a generator almost, or it could be some sort of exhaust system. I imagine they need a lot of those here on Mustafar, but it looks really good. There's some nice features of wheels there. I love the 18-wheeler exhaust pipe that's kind of coming out from the side, and overall just a nice little touch to the build that actually kind of continues down into the room below, as you can see by that piece of machinery that's hanging from the ceiling. Overall, very nice MOC. I think Kedem surprised a lot of people with this one. Given the fact that he just doesn't build a ton of MOCs, at least not ones that we've seen, but well deserving of the overall Battlefront 2 competition victory. and I hope to see more from you, man. Next mock is titled Club Fondor by the builder, Michael. These Fondor builds are always so interesting to look at. The use of color is especially impressive in this build. The purple accents really help make the otherwise dark gray elements of it pop. I especially love this grid pattern here on the outside of the mod. I think also throwing in those masonry bricks but flipped to the side where there's only one line as opposed to the brick pattern looks very nice. We get a closer look at some of the trans purple elements here, like the cheese slopes built into this section of the mock, as well as these 1x1 round trans purple elements. One of the things that also stuck out to me are these, I guess, cargo canisters over to the right side. These look quite good. Like, I'm actually pretty impressed by how these 1x1 plates somehow fit into these 2x2 circular plates on either end. That actually just looks really cool. If you want to build some cargo canisters, this is definitely some good reference material. I have to, of course, mention the Minifig Placement out here. So this is obviously built for factions, so there is a story behind this. I didn't read up on that, but I'm just going to try to figure out what's going on with the story based on what we see here. So it looks like we have some troops of some sort. There's like a clone trooper and a stormtrooper over to the right, and we have what might be some bad guys with some guns pointed to them. The troop over leaning next to the door looks pretty troubled. The spectators over to the left are obviously pretty startled at what's going on here. And then we have our two gentlemen, the Rodian, as well as the Star Wars looking dude, who probably just shot them or are in the process of shooting them. I also love the Togruta cameo right there in the back. There's something about a Togruta in a poncho that just screams Ahsoka Tano. Lastly, this first picture shows the window up top, which is kind of cool. It's a nice way to peek into the actual build without actually seeing into the build. Just a cool looking window. And then of course there's the photo edits of the Arabish basically put onto these hollow screens here. That always looks really nice. And of course I'll always request anyone who can translate this, do so in the comment section. It's always interesting to see what these builders put into these mocks. Next up, we have the interior of the club, and interestingly enough, there are quite a few Imperial officers here, which just in the terms of Star Wars lore is actually pretty interesting. I mean, you know, the Imperial officers spent all day at work. You have to imagine whenever they get off, they're looking for a good time, and they're hitting up Club Fondor. So up top, we have a Imperial officer with his eyes closed. I imagine he just got broken up with by his sexy blue Twi'lek girlfriend, and he's probably not taking it too well. If we move over further to the right, we have a couple of minifigs also perched up top. Those guys look pretty cool. One of the funniest things about this build, and one of the funniest things I've probably ever seen in a mock, is this battle droid with a giant body as a DJ. This is literally a DJ droid, and this is just so humorous to me. I love that he did this. It's the battle droid head on the Clone Wars Grievous body with just the super bulky robot arms. Like, that is just funny on so many levels. Down below, we have the bar area, which looks nice. I love when builders do these bar type areas because you can make great use of a lot of the trans colored elements in Lego for a lot of the bottles of whatever the heck they might be selling here. I'm not going to make any assumptions, but it all just looks really nice. To the bottom left hand corner, we have our dance floor, and once again he makes nice use of those purple accents to basically form a border to create the dance floor. And we have some Imperial officers over here getting down. That's what I like to see. Would have what I'd imagine to be a Gonk droid also over probably serving drinks on the dance floor. I don't know, that's what I assume a Gonk droid might be doing here. And lastly, we have what looks like the remainder of the group that was causing some trouble outside walking into the club. So we got the nice Trandoshan fellow followed by his Togruta friend, and maybe even a Mandalorian over in the corner. So overall, this is just such an aesthetically pleasing build. The dark gray is what you've come to expect from a Star Wars build. However, the purple and trans purple elements really do help it pop. Purple is really an underused color in Star Wars, so it's nice to see people integrate that into their builds. And then of course, all the fun things that are happening with minifigs in this mock are just amazing. So wonderful job, Michael. The final mock we're going to look at today is by First Order Lego, and this is Operation Knightfall from Star Wars Battlefront 2. Where do I even begin with this build? Let's start from the bottom, and then we'll make our way to the top, just like Drake said. So first, he has the awesome looking brick built lettering for Operation Knightfall. This is super clever, super creative right here, and it just really caps off the MOC. Like, the MOC is awesome by itself, but having the black border with the actual title of the MOC built into it is such a cool technique. I mean, I'd love to go over the individual things he's doing here to accomplish these letters, but in simple terms, it is basically just a bunch of snot techniques, a pretty heavy usage of cheese slopes, and overall just make a super awesome looking technique. Now let's make our way over to the left side of the build. We have our clone troopers, our 501st troops marching into the Jedi Temple, and I love the usage of snot that's kind of making its way around the stairs here. I mean, Luke has become pretty well known for his snot work, and this MOC is certainly no exception. Wonderful job here with the snot all the way around the edges of the build. This is one of the coolest things about this build, the Jedi Statues. He really knocked it out of the park with these Jedi Statues right here. These two at the very front have a pretty nice signature pose where they're using the Force with their arm extended while holding a lightsaber. That all looks really good. Making our way further into the library, there's just literally so much to cover here. So we have the Star Wars equivalent to the bookshelves here, and I love that this specific one right here just has a chunk pretty much blasted out of it, and we can see the remnants of it all on the ground. Nice use of those trans blue and trans dark blue cheese slopes right there. Like, you can just see, like, there's just bits and pieces of the scenery laying all across this build, which really just help get a sense of just how much destruction and chaos is happening in the temple right now. So we have a few of our 501st troops over to the left side. They're obviously blasting at our Jedis who are, you know, just trying to live, trying to survive, trying to make it through the night. It's obviously not working out too well for them. We have a Sisi-10 looking alien right here getting blasted with a glowing orange lightsaber, which is kind of cool. There's also some nice statues kind of lining the bookshelves. If you've ever paid close attention to the Jedi library scenes, you'll notice they have some statues of prominent Jedi throughout the history of Jedis here at the edges of these bookshelves. So that was a very nice and memorable inclusion of the MOC right here. Those 4x4 curved tiles make a nice little base for the table. There's some pretty cool looking chairs surrounding them, and of course some data pads and some hollow screens kind of connected to them so you can do your research in the Jedi Temple. If we make our way over to the far right section of the MOC, it looks like we have a Rodian Jedi Master with what I would assume to be his Padawan, just looking at the chaos that's happening in the room right now. One thing that I don't really have a good picture of here in this MOC, but it's something I noticed in his time lapse of the build, are these cool little plant bowls right here. He's basically using the bubble turrets, the same ones you might see on the front of the Republic gunship set, for example, and he's used them as basically big pots for these plants right here, which is kind of cool. That looks really good. The one thing that I think most people are going to notice about this build is this giant Jedi statue over to the far right side of the build. It looks awesome. I especially love that the head is just being blasted. Like, how hateful of a clone do you have to be to not only want to kill Jedis, but to see a statue of a Jedi and just think, oh, I'm going to blow the freaking head off the thing. I mean, these clones ain't loyal, to put it in light terms. But of course, up top, we still have more action going on. We have a Jedi Master fighting what I'm assuming is Anakin Skywalker, and of course, a Padawan just looking on in terror. Like, I love the minifig placement all throughout this MOC. Like, the facial expressions, all those things work so well together to just convey the chaos that's happening here. I think the railing of this balcony also looks really good. I love the clone that's just being forced right through the balcony. He's not gonna have a nice landing. And this is probably one of the coolest parts of this MOC, these windows right here. So the window technique in itself looks awesome. I imagine those are just a bunch of like 1x2 jumper plates stacked up to give some nice ridges to the walls right there. He's using some of the, what are those? Are they the micro figures? I think that's what those are. But he's using those in tan to just represent some miniature statues. And then we have the skyline of Coruscant on the outside of the window, which is just so cool. Like, I can't say enough nice things about the inclusion of that in this MOC. Like, obviously the MOC in itself is outstanding, but that one little detail in the back of the windows, having the skyline of Coruscant with the orange skies behind them, just really sets this MOC even over the top. And I I love that so much about the MOC. Whenever I first saw the pictures of this build, I was just gushing at that inclusion of detail. I think I could sit here for a much longer period of time just going through all the bits and details that he's included in this thing, because there is certainly no shortage of them. But overall, you just have to sit back and take this MOC in as like the grand picture of things and just appreciate it. Like, this is truly beautiful. It's kind of breathtaking the way that Luca can just put out such a diverse array of MOCs so consistently. As someone like me who gets so much excitement out of reviewing builds like these and even just observing builds like these, I'm really appreciative that we have someone like him in the community. So keep on going at it, man. This is such a beautiful build.